Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 7th grade concept of division, specifically dividing rational numbers, and we'll do it in 5 minutes or less. So we have a simple problem on the screen, 32 and 7/10 divided by -4.5. So it's a little bit strange because we have a decimal and a mixed number. So one way we can solve this is to just change this mixed number into a decimal, because we know what decimal division looks like. So that's -4.5. That's a benchmark fraction here. And so let's see what that looks like if we just use -4.5 as our divisor. And we know that since we have a negative and a positive, our answer is simply going to be negative. But other than that, that negative is not going to really do much for us. We do have a decimal in our divisor, so we need to get that out of here. So we're going to move that over 1. We're going to follow that by moving the decimal and the dividend over 1. It's the same as multiplying both by 10. So now I've got -45 into 327. And at that point, we've got just regular multiplication to get in to see how many times 45 goes into 327. So I think it's going to be 7. So let's see if that's going to be correct. That's going to be 35. That's 28. That's 31. All right, so that was a pretty good guess. So I've got 12 left. And then we can decide, do we want to have, 7 and 12 45ths, or do we want to go ahead and just see if we can, let's see if we can get it all the way out. So we're going to add a decimal here. Let's add a 0. Let's see if we can go a little bit farther. Might not be worth it here. But 45 is going to go in there twice because that's going to be 90. So that's going to be 30. Let's see if we can add another one here. And that's going to be 300. And that's 45 is going to go in there about, let's see, 6 times. Yeah, 6 times. So 45 times 6, that's going to be 30, 27. Yeah, so look at what we got here. We've got a repeating. Because look at, I got 30 again. All right, so it's just going to be another 300. We're going to do 6 again. So it's 7.2, and then that 6 is repeating. So that is my answer here if I wanted to do that. Now, what is another way I can do that? Well, I could use the reciprocal. Now, the reciprocal, remember, is the multiplicative inverse. So that means I need to find the reciprocal or the multiplicative inverse of this -4.5, because I don't really want to divide. I want to multiply, because multiplying fractions is pretty easy. So the multiplicative inverse of -4.5. Well, first, if I'm going to divide, right, -4.5, let's go ahead and turn that into a just into an improper fraction. So let's make this, that's going to be -9 over 2. So if I'm dividing by -9 over 2, the multiplicative inverse is, let's change the operation to the inverse, and then let's flip it, right? So it's going to be -2/9. All right, so dividing by -4.5, the reciprocal is multiplying by -2/9. All right, so I've got that now. Let's take my 32 over 7, or 32 and 7/10. I want to make that 32 and 7/10. And then let's go ahead and just make that a fraction as well. So that's going to be 327 over 10. So there we go, 327 over 10 times -2/9. So if I want to, I could just completely multiply. And so we're going to get multiplication straight across. So that's going to be 90, and obviously it's going to be negative here. Let's keep that right there. And then 327 doubled is going to be 654. So 654, I already know from up here I can at least divide it by 2. And so let's go ahead and do that, right, to get my denominator of 45. So that's going to get me a 45. 654, well, that's going to get me right back to where I was, 327, okay? And then I have an improper fraction. I need to change that into a mixed number. And 45 goes into 327 7 times with 12 left over. So I've got the same answer. Remember, all of these are negative. So it's -7 and 12 45ths, or -7.26 repeating.